The giants of Dungeons & Dragons have always been ranked in a caste system called the Ordning. What exactly is the Ordning, and why is it so important? The Ordning is allegedly based on skill, intellect, and strength, but if you look closely at the rankings for all the giants contained within, it's clearly based on size and strength. Two things before we get started. Please subscribe to my channel because it helps me out so much, and if I made a video about a particular type of giant, you'll find any relevant links in the description box. At the bottom of the Ordning are half-giant breeds, since true giants love to shun their ugly step-siblings. The bottom of the Ordning includes ogres, furbolgs, vodkin, verbeegs, nice job, Gygax, Fomorians, Oni, and half-ogres, aka Ogrelon. Moving up a step in the Ordning, we are met by Ettins. These dual-personality ticking time bombs are a force to be reckoned with, but they are probably not even aware that the Ordning exists. Why are Ettins so low in the Ordning despite their obvious savagery? Rumor has it Ettins were created when a group of orcs stumbled across a temple to Demogorgon and succeeded in contacting the Prince of Demons. Demogorgon turned the orcs into mockeries of himself and scattered this new species to the winds. Hill giants certainly aren't intelligent enough to be aware of the Ordning, though they understand that the rule of strength means something. In any hill giant settlement, you'll find their chieftain is the fattest, strongest, meanest hill giant of the lot. Mountain giants exist above hill giants in the Ordning, but depending on your DM's choice of lore, you may never encounter one because they're a dying species. Mountain giants appear to be a mix between stone and hill giants, and their culture reflects a blend of the two. Who reproduced with who? You know what? I don't even want to think about it, and I'm sorry I asked. Above the non-existent mountain giants stand stone giants. Stone giants are wondrous artisans and create incredibly detailed carvings deep within their stone dwellings. There are two reasons stone giants don't rank very high in the Ordning. First, they're physically weak compared to the giants above them. Second, stone giants are a surprisingly reclusive race. They hide underground instead of taking their place on the surface, at least in the eyes of other giants. Ranking above stone giants are frost giants. Frost giants favor competitions of unarmed strength that usually appears in the form of wrestling. If you want to prove yourself to a frost giant clan, wrestling is probably the only way forward. Above frost giants, we have fire giants. Fire giants endlessly war and forge new weapons to fuel their wars. However, there's more to life than war, so fire giants sing songs about old battles, be they lost or won. Come on, fire giants, you were this close to greatness. Above fire giants, the lesser-known fog giants lurk in the fog. Descended from cloud giants, fog giants split from the cloud giant society after a massive civil war, preferring to take their chances at forging their own existence. Since we haven't heard about fog giants in 5th edition, I reckon they're either doing very well or completely extinct. Nearing the pinnacle of the Ordning, cloud giants are second to one. Cloud giants are quirky who act like aristocrats with clear disdain for those below their stature. See, the funny thing about cloud giants is that they're intelligent enough to reason that strength isn't everything, so instead, cloud giants have to deal with Bridgerton levels of judgment for not having beautiful surroundings when other cloud giants come to visit any particular cloud giant's dwelling. Another reason for cloud giants ranking above other giants, they are accomplished spellcasters. They don't have an arsenal of supremely destructive evocation spells, but no giants below cloud giants are competent enough to use magic. At the tippy top of the Ordning, storm giants rule without question. They are the biggest, strongest, and the most able to kick the daylights out of anyone who pisses them off. Storm giants are so powerful that they can live in the furthest fringes of the known world and still maintain control over the lesser races of giants. Okay, maybe I lied to you. There is one more entry in the Ordning, but it is for a race that has long since vanished. The Titans. Bigger and badder than even storm giants, Titans were demigod-like in their abilities. Then, they vanished. All of them. The funny thing about the Ordning is that it not only applies to the different races of giants, but it also ranks giants contained within a tribe. To elaborate further, giants who live under the Ordning have no equals inside their own tribe. There are only giants to whom you are inferior or superior depending on your tribe-given rank. As an inferior giant, you are expected to follow reasonable orders given to you by superiors, and you are expected to uphold the tribe's hierarchy at all times. There are two types of behavior that giants recognize: Mot and Mog. Mot behaviors bring honor to the giant and its tribe, while Mog behaviors bring shame and dishonor. Examples of Mot behaviors include honoring Anam, the giant allfather, bravery, honoring Othea, Anam's wife and mother of giantkind, showing a Mot giant charity or mercy, honoring giant gods, honoring family members, and showing sentient beings mercy or charity. Well, Well, that last one only applies to storm giants. Examples of Mog behaviors include betraying a nom, violating the Ordning, betraying one's tribe or family, cowardice, killing a giant that is considered Mott, betraying a trust, forcing another giant to leave their geographical domain, or being a half-giant, ogre, or not a true giant. The last one is specific to an incident of alleged adultery between Othea and a god named Vaprek. I don't want to get into the ugly details of this particular deity relationship drama. Anyways, the hierarchical ranks given by a particular giant tribe are recognized in other giant tribes of a similar race. For example, if a chieftain of one hill giant tribe were to visit another hill giant tribe, they would receive the same respect that the hosting hill giant chieftain would receive. However, given the nature of hill giants, there would likely be an immediate tussle for power. A giant's individual tribal rank becomes irrelevant the moment they deal with other races of giants. Thanks to the Ordning, a giant immediately knows if it is in the presence of a superior or inferior giant and will behave accordingly. In a weird display of nuance, giants are not bound to the same kind of Mott-Mog behavior that they would ordinarily have to observe when in the presence of their own race. Betraying a giant who is not of your race is considered rude, but merely an insult or a faux pas. The rest of the video contains spoilers for Storm King's Thunder and Rise of Tiamat. If you don't want spoilers or you're one of my players, this is your exit. See ya! For those who remain, Rise of Tiamat and Storm King's Thunder are incredibly important in giant timelines for two reasons. The first reason, Tiamat and the Cult of the Dragon were beaten back by the, quote, small folk, unquote, instead of the giants, who have warred against dragons for millennia. It's also worthy to note that some giants even colluded with the Cult of the Dragon to bring Tiamat into the material plane. This caused Anam a shift in his priorities, as he then came to believe that his giants had become complacent in their soft, squishy, cuddly ordning. Anam then proceeds to shatter the f***ing ordning that literally held the fabric of giant society together. What the f*** is your problem? I get it's insulting for your own idiot descendants to take the side of your own mortal enemy, but just send a plague like a normal deity. No. Instead, Anam decides to cut giants loose from the only thing stopping them from doing some really weird shit. Lo and behold, the events of Storm King's Thunder. Depending on how player characters complete the story, a new race of giants could replace storm giants at the pinnacle of giant kind. Giants that have a much lower inclination to be kind to these smaller races that probably live within murdering distance. Sounds like an A+ recipe for total disaster. Anyways, what do you all think of the Ordning? Did you learn something about it that you didn't already know? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and share this video on your Twitter, Facebook, and other social media. I'll see you all next time.